Hey you guys, welcome to My Table 3. My name is Carrie and today I'm going to share another low carb Trim Healthy Mama S recipe with you. It is also gluten free and keto friendly if those are the diets you follow. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Normally I make this Crockpot enchilada casserole in the Crockpot or slow cooker, but today we have about 5 or 6 inches of ice outside and it's still coming down and our lights keep blinking. So in order to make sure that we have dinner and it cooks all the way through, without it going off, the power going off, I'm going to make it in the oven this time. So I'm going to make it with beef and in the oven. It's a little bit different than the link you'll find below, but follow that link below for Crockpot instructions and it will turn out perfect for you because you're going to follow basically the same simple layering standards just in your Crockpot and then use that timer. Also, this is a remake of a Pillsbury recipe that I found on their website a while back. They actually cut up refrigerated biscuit dough, so if you want to do that, if your family is not gluten-free or not keto, then feel free to do that. But I'm going to use a version of the fathead dough, and I've already made that, so you guys don't have to see me do that again. I've showed you how to do that before in other recipes, like my breakfast pizza and my pinwheel, so check out those videos if you actually want to see me making this dough. But for the sake of time, I just already made it. Now I'm going to show you how to pinch them pieces off and roll them together for the biscuits, and then we'll layer it in and bake it in the oven. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd love for you to do that. Give me a thumbs up because it's really helpful for the channel. And also, one more thing, find me on Instagram if you want to see me post daily about recipes that I've put out on my blog, which I'll link to below. So let's get in the kitchen and make this beef enchilada casserole. I am hungry and the boys are too, so let's get it done before this ice knocks the power out. Alright guys, I showed you how I made the dough pieces that are going to replicate the Pillsbury biscuits in this low carb recipe. So now I'm going to show you how to layer this in your baking dish. Now again, I'm doing this just because I don't know if we'll keep power. So if you're using your crock pot like the recipe states, then you can just follow the same layering order just in your crock pot. So first thing I'm going to do is pour a little bit of the enchilada sauce that I have mixed with the sour cream. It's 1/3 cup of sour cream mixed with 1 of the enchilada sauces, and I linked to that in the recipe, so the full recipe link will be in the description below. Next, I am going to layer in those low carb biscuit pieces, aka this is just like the cheese dough that you make your pizza crust with and things like that. This is going to, again, this is a replica of a Pillsbury biscuit recipe that I'm remaking low carb. So we're just mocking, basically biscuit pieces. Okay. Next, I'm going to put in some of the ground beef. In the recipe, it's going to say 2 cups of chicken. I have ground beef on hand, so that is what I'm using today because we had it left over from Taco Tuesday. So I thought, hey, we'll have beef enchilada casserole instead of chicken. So recipe says 2 cups of chicken, so just substitute that for beef if you like to, or use the chicken or pork, whatever. Then we are going to layer in some red peppers. That's just my oven beeping if you hear that. This is green peppers, not red. Sorry about that. 1/3 cup. Some onions, 1/3 cup. Sometimes I use green onions, and the recipe probably says green onions, but today we are using red, because again, use what you have. Okay, so then I am going to put in some cheese on the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour over the rest of the enchilada sauce. Use a spoon to get it all out. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of poke around and let some of the enchilada sauce run down in there, but you don't have to do this, and if you're doing it in the crock pot, you don't have to either, so it'll all come together. Just follow the instructions in the recipe post if you're using the crock pot. Alright, so there's that, and then I'm going to put the rest of the cheese on top. Remember, recipes are made to be modified, so if there's something you don't like about this recipe, change it to something you will like. Okay, and since we are doing this in the oven versus my crock pot instructions again are in the link recipe below. I am going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. I'll check it at about 30, but it's probably going to take 45 minutes to make sure everything is hot and those dough pieces in the casserole are cooked. So I'll come back in 45 minutes and show you what this looks like after it's baked. Alright guys, so one thing I forgot to mention in the clip before we put it in the oven is I did cover this with foil. It ended up baking for 40 minutes covered, and then I took the cover off and then I cooked it for another 15 minutes. Took it out of the oven and then let it set for about 10 minutes just to cool a little bit. But usually you're going to do it about 5 minutes. That lets it settle. So now I'm going to dish a little bit up for you and show you how we're going to serve it. Right, look at that. See how amazing that looks? And it's not too wet, not too dry. I think it's perfect. You could add a little bit of salsa on this. You could add a little bit more enchilada sauce if you want to, but I'm going to show you how I am going to eat mine. I am going to add a little bit of lettuce. Big piece of lettuce. I'm going to tear that up just a little bit. And then a little bit of guacamole. And that is it. So that is how we make our enchilada casserole. Like I said below, I'll have the full recipe instructions below where you can head over to my blog and see it. Click it in the crock pot as the direction says, or make it in your oven. Like I said, this was ready in about an hour or so between prep. Actually, probably about an hour and 30 minutes if you actually have to make your dough. But you can do that the night before, roll it in balls, and keep it in the refrigerator for when you're ready to bake this. And then you can have it ready in under an hour. So hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys on the next video.